Hello and welcome back to today's personal finance show here on Dublin City FM with me, Paul Merriman from askpaul.ie. Earlier in the show, I said we're going to have somebody in studio that was going to really simplify the legal process around mortgages, whether it's a new mortgage or a switcher mortgage. I'm delighted to have Mike Stack in, who is the head of legal over in Beam. Mike, welcome to the studio. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks. Morning, Paul.
Great. Let's get in and tell listeners what Beam is, because I'm going to be very honest, I think it's brilliant. I think it's going to really change the mortgage process for people. I think it's really going to help people, especially those that switch mortgages. I think the blocker for new first-time buyers is obviously going to be the supply issue and those trading up. But for switchers, for everybody, this is brilliant. Let's bring the listeners through what Beam is.
So Beam is effectively a platform that brings transparency to the whole house purchasing or switching the mortgage process. So I think people have lived in an environment where the legal process have been very grey.
Yes.
That they've had difficulty in accessing information, getting confirmation as to where they stand or what they have to do or what's next or what the steps are at all. Mm-hmm. And what Beam brings to the process is we bring transparency to that. So effectively we've got 3 T's at Beam. We've got transparency. Through our open platform, we bring people in. They can see everything that's happened. They can access it 24/7. They can see who's doing what or what hasn't been done or what needs to be done. We have time. It saves on time. Being able to access it brings the timelines down. So we're bringing our timelines down constantly. And
so people are getting the keys quicker or they're switching their mortgages quicker. Yeah, so it's a big thing here is the timepiece.
Massive. And with time brings comfort. Because I think people, the less the person knows about what's going on, the more that's living in their head about what's not going on.
Yes.
You know, and then the final one is team. We've built up a really, really solid team in Beam, which goes beyond the normal legal service practice. You know, we have customer service people who are experts at dealing with customers. We have a sales team that are expert at leading people through the process to begin with, compliance teams, legal teams. So it's a wider environment and all with the personal touch of people at the end of it.
Very good.
But digital based.
I think you mentioned the word comfort, because I think if I was to speak to any client of ours from a mortgage point of view, and even my own experience in mortgages in the past personally, is that the legal part is an absolute nightmare. And I will say, I think it's a complete nightmare. Now, it's not saying it's all down to every single solicitor, but it's the actual process. So you've mapped this process and just basically slashed what solicitors don't need to do and make it way more simpler and easier and more task oriented and stripped out loads of tasks that the AI can look after or customer service can look after.
Yeah, I think when we initially sat down and we looked at the process from start to finish, we were kind of taken aback at how many steps are actually in it. Right. And then tried to understand, well, that makes sense that the thing is a nightmare. If you're trying to do all of these steps in a period of time that doesn't facilitate and do 50 other things at the same time, nothing's going to get done. Mm-hmm. So by taking the steps, we went from 103 steps for a solicitor down to 4. You know, they don't need to be doing all of these things. Let them focus their time on the legal side of the transaction and then bring in other experts to do the other parts of the transaction.
I love the customer service piece, because I think the biggest problem people have is trying to get their solicitor. So when they ring, or even, you know, I didn't experience this all the time, you ring looking for your solicitor, you get the receptionist or secretary, and he's going to ring you back. Yeah. And they have no information to share whatsoever. They can't tell you anything. You have to wait for this one person to come back to you if they're on holidays or away or in court and other issues. All these other things pop up because they're not just purely conveyancing most people. Where you have the customer service team, and the customer service team and the kind of probably the CRM you're using gives all the information at one point. So if I'm ringing as a client, whoever I get can tell me exactly what's going on.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the Trustpilot reviews, you'll see that is the consistent theme that's running through everything. Is people are blown away by the customer service. They're name calling the customer service team they're dealing with because they're getting such a response back. So we've kind of prided ourselves of if somebody is ringing looking for information, this is the biggest transaction in their lives where they're buying, and also stressful where they're switching. If they're switching off a high cost mortgage down to something that actually it gives a little bit of disposable income into the house. Yeah. This is the most important thing in their lives at the time. They deserve to get a response quick. They don't deserve to be getting, he'll ring you back in 2 days, or, you know, I don't know where that's at. I'm sure I saw something coming in the last day. I'll check for you, and then silence for 4 days. So our customer service team have full access to the information, but if the customer even needs to go that far, because a lot of time they can see it on the application themselves. They can open it up, they can see where things are at, and if they want that human contact, or if they want to take it to the next step, there's immediate customer service availability there. And that customer service team works on Saturday mornings as well, so they're in there Monday through Saturday.
Yeah, so there's kind of much more access. As well as that, I suppose it's probably the Saturday morning when I find, especially couples are probably sitting down for the first time. It's been work all week, especially if there's kids involved. It's like a rat race. They're finally getting an extra hour together on the Saturday morning, saying, "Did you do this? Did this happen?" And yeah, there's not enough hours in a day. I mean, even trying to get, you make a really good point around comfort. We try to do it at Ask Paul, even when we do our financial planning consultations. It's very rarely about the pension or the investment piece or the mortgage or switcher or whatever we're doing, or restructuring assets. It's very much that people walk out and they have a peace of mind and a comfort that everything's okay. Because I think, again, everyone's in the rat race.
Yeah.
And everyone's busy. And, you know, if you're a business owner or a PA where you work, or whatever your situation is, there's just so much to life.
Yeah.
And the finances and the legal piece of the mortgage, it shouldn't be keeping you awake or annoying you, or they never got back to me today, and you're kind of going to bed a bit annoyed or pissed off that somebody didn't get back to you, and then you're kind of, it just creeps in your mind, I find. It makes the whole process a little bit more uglier than it needs to be.
Well, I think the supply is so horrific at the moment that people, the hardest part of the process should be getting the property. And that once you go sale agreed, it should be streamlined and easy, and, you know, the customer service environment that it should be one where you're just constantly being led to the key. So where you get to a situation where you've spent up to a year and possibly longer looking to get your hands on the property, your go sale agreed, and then you're met with a wall of silence or a wall of inaction, you know, the level of frustration and anxiety that brings. Yeah, I think until people go through it, they don't appreciate it.
And I think people don't switch their mortgage because of that. I think people remember how difficult, stressful, and how annoying the first time they bought the house was. That when they hear about mortgage again or switch them, no, I don't.
They repress the memory of it, that they don't want to endure that little torture again.
And if I always say to them, look, it's not as hard this time because you're not trying to find a house. Number one, you've got the house. Yeah. But it's not the house, it's the paperwork and the legals and the whole thing that goes with it that just find so, I suppose, frustrating.
Yeah, and I think when we looked at that process, so the isolating the switcher process alone, you know, we brought it to a stage where we can do switches in 4 weeks, no problem. The person doesn't have to leave their home to do it. Everything can be done remotely. We issue the paperwork remotely. There is that bit where you still need to sign, and there's video calls to do all of that, but the whole process can be done very, very smoothly once the person commits to it. And I think that like switching your mortgage should be as easy as switching any other utility, because in reality that's what it is. You know, it's a debt and it's a utility. They're providing you a mechanism of being able to afford that.
It should be.
It shouldn't take, you know, a pound of flesh to go from one lender to another.
I would, and especially I know, you know, most newer banks to the Irish marketplace, or lenders, or if you look at the likes of New Money for argument's sake, and Avant in fairness as well, they've really tried to cut out a lot of the process around the legal requirements of what they're accepting more DocuSigns expected compared to the Irish banks, in my opinion. And we're now Revolut's coming to the marketplace soon as well, and we know how good Revolut are at tech. I mean, Revolut are not going to get tied up here with, you know, the traditional ways of doing this. And so it's great to see the legal firms you've built kind of moving in this direction already. You've also surpassed your 1,000 customer, I believe. So 1,000 in a year.
In a year, yeah.
It's unbelievable.
A milestone and testament to the team behind it as well, that it brought an inordinate amount of pressure on them because it grew so quickly. And
if you look at over the last 10, 12 months, you've got a team of over 40 people. I know you're telling me you're run off here that you're trying to get into new premises as well. You just got over a few premises, you're growing that quickly. Can you bring everyone through your background, maybe? Because every few weeks we bring in entrepreneurs or people that have done something different in business. But it's great what I think what Beam does, and for everybody, the website is letsbeam.ie. And if you want to get through it through Ask Paul, it's letsbeam.ie/Ask Paul. So if you're looking for switching your mortgage or legal paperwork or legal representation for doing a new mortgage, make sure you head over to the guys over in Beam. But how have you done this? Because you've kind of just changed everything in the legal world, in my opinion. And okay, let's bring us through your experience and your business partners and how you've ended up here, because you were the traditional solicitors doing this and then decided that's too complicated. You came in kind of through a different angle.
Well, yeah, I suppose that it's been e-conveyancing has been envisioned for a long time,
Yeah.
but I think there's just too many people and too many kind of groups involved trying to change it all in one go rather than taking it apart, peel the onion layer by layer. So that was the approach that we did. So Brian Stevenson would be the digital tech guy behind it, the CTO, who was would have kind of grown up in Paddy Power when they went into the online business.
Brilliant.
So he's the genius behind the whole operation, to be fair to him. The industry knowledge then that I had of the legal side of it, and like my background is always has been housing connected, whether working for developers, working for contractors, working in the long-term leasing environment, and
I mentioned the forced home scheme and all that.
Scheme.
Yeah, right.
All the government benefits, because it all adds into that housing ecosystem.
Yeah.
But I suppose what we've done is we've taken the noise out of the process, but brought a customer service first approach. So we've built into our team that customer service, because that's what it is. Mm-hmm. Like if you drill it down, like it shouldn't be a legal service. It shouldn't be something that kind of handcuffs the person to a process that has no agility to move with the times or be digitalized or anything like that. It's a customer service at the end of the day. People are getting a professional service, but it is at the end of it a customer service. Mm-hmm. And if you start with that parameter or that kind of pillar of what you're offering, that this is about the customer and the service that you deliver to the customer should be absolutely top notch. Mm-hmm. It is the most stressful thing, well documented. Moving a house or buying a house is the most stressful thing. No, I dispute that, having a few 14 and 12 year olds in the house at the moment, but it's the most stressful thing in a person's life. But it shouldn't be.
Yeah, it shouldn't be.
And
yeah,
it's
totally
added to by the person you're actually paying money to provide you with a service. So
yeah, no, it's very, very good. And your rates, let's bring everyone through your rates, because again, they're very transparent. They're very, I would say, exceptionally keen in the marketplace the way it is today. From a switcher mortgage, it's correct saying it's €1,200,
12.50 plus VAT and outlay for a switcher.
And let's talk about the switch, the outlay, because I think that's what gets everybody. So can you bring listeners through what that is? So they say VAT and outlay, so your 12.50 really creeps up, to probably around 1,700-1,800 quid. But talking about the VAT on top of it, search fees that the bank are requiring from you to do.
So search fees average about 61.50. So that's an outlay that's paid to a third party insured searcher. You then have the land registry. So to register the bank's charge is about €175. Taking the title deeds up, banks will charge you to give you back your title deeds. So, that varies from €0 for AIB to €63 for Bank of Ireland. So you'll have those little bits.
Do a bit.
Everything we do, we work on pure transparency. So our system can tell you this is exactly what it's going to cost you to switch your mortgage before you even decide to switch your mortgage.
Brilliant.
And this is the likely timeline. So, the most, I suppose, difficult piece in a switcher to identify is how quickly you can get your title deeds from the existing
bank. And every
bank.
bank's different, yeah.
And every bank is different. So, that's the unknown, but everything else we can stand over.
And then for new mortgages or people trading up, then the fee is?
So we charge €2,200 as the professional fee with VAT.
So the VAT
just over 2,500, and then your outlays can change. So your stamp duty depends on the property price. Your land registry fees depends on the property price. They have a rating charge up as it goes. But I suppose what we offer is we're fixed fee.
Yeah.
So the day you walk in the door is the day we'll tell you exactly what it's going to cost. There are no surprises, and we'll tell you the top line figure, which in a lot of occasions we're reducing that down at the tail end.
Because I remember when I bought my first house 20 years ago at this stage, but I think it was like just 1% flat the solicitor was charging. It's like whatever your purchase price was, it was just 1%. So someone was buying a house for $1 million. It was kind of the same paperwork as the guy buying a house for 200k. To be fair, there's not much difference other than the value. So that's well gone.
Yeah, it is well gone. I think there is a thought process there that, you know, the higher the value of the home, the more exposure you have to your insurance.
Yes.
And that justified an increased fee, but we don't ascribe to that nonsense, to be fair.
Yeah, it is nonsense.
Like our view is people are coming in here, they're buying a property, you're providing a service.
Yeah.
The value of the house shouldn't matter.
No.
Because it's, you know, your house is your castle.
Exactly.
You should be given the same service no matter what it is. And I suppose then to kind of lead into that with our first time buyers and all our clients, we ascribe to a full kind of we're in it with you approach. So no keys, no fees. If you don't get the keys, if anything happens in the middle of the process, no matter how deep you are into it, if you don't get keys at the end of the day, we don't charge fees.
Well, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's really, really good. I wasn't aware of that piece. Okay, that's excellent. Mike, just first of all, I say this, I think I said this to someone before, I can't remember who it was, but thank you. And I actually genuinely mean that, because I think what you guys have developed is a game changer. I think it's genuinely a game changer in relation to the legal process part of how people buy property and how people switch mortgages, or how people draw down their mortgages. And I would highly recommend, especially compared to what I've seen in so many different solicitors' offices, that, you know, any listener today, or anyone watching this back on Spotify, or anyone watching the content on YouTube, to make sure that the BIM is part of your mortgage journey, because it makes complete sense. I don't think I've actually seen, since askpaul.ie, I don't think I've seen such a disruptive, disruptive from a marketing point of view, but a disruptive product design in the industry. And I'm very honest, I don't think I have. I can't remember the last time someone has come to us with, this is what we do, and it's customer first, and it's going to change dramatically how that piece of the mortgage world works. So congratulations, and well done. I really give a cheers.
Appreciate that. Thanks for your time.
And well done to all your team as well, because I know you are you know, there is a big team behind you as well.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a team accomplishment, I suppose, for those 1,000 customers.
Very much so. Like, I actually don't do a whole lot, to be fair.
Snap.
Yeah.
I actually just do this all week.
There you go.
Thanks again for coming to the studio. Great to see you, Mike. Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.